The American Southwest, a brutally beautiful landscape carved over millions of years by wind and water. Here, the earth is laid bare. Towering fortresses of red sandstone stand like ancient monuments in the dust. By midday, surface temperatures in this canyon can easily exceed 120 degrees. It is a world of absolute extremes. Survival in this furnace requires perfect efficiency and relentless endurance. Every drop of moisture, every single calorie of energy must be perfectly managed just to see tomorrow. High above the scorching canyon floor, blending perfectly against the stone, moves a phantom. A young female mountain lion, lean, exhausted, and operating on the very edge of her limits. She has spent the entire night miles away in the scrubland, hunting under the light of the moon. But the intense summer drought has driven the mule deer herds far out of her territory. She returns empty-handed, moving with a heavy, silent grace along the dizzying cliff ledges. But she isn't just surviving for herself. Her life is tethered to something hidden deep in the rock. Tucked inside a shallow, shaded cave, shielded from the brutal sun, lies her reason for enduring this hell. 3 newborn kittens, blind, incredibly vulnerable, and completely dependent on her return. In the unforgiving mathematics of the desert, raising a litter of 3 is an almost impossible task. She settles into the dust of the cave. She offers her own depleting reserves to keep them alive. For a brief moment, there is peace. But in the wild, peace is only a pause between struggles. Miles away, down on the cracked mud of the dry riverbed, a massive shadow is on the move. An 800-pound male grizzly bear, a nomadic giant wandering through the gorge. Driven by a relentless, insatiable pre-hibernation hunger, he is desperate for calories. He is a scavenger today, turning over dead wood and rocks in search of anything edible. With a single, effortless swipe of his massive paw, he flips a 1,000-pound boulder. It is a terrifying display of raw, brute strength. But grubs and insects will never satisfy a giant. He needs meat, he needs protein, and he is willing to tear the canyon apart to find it. As the afternoon sun heats the rocks, thermal currents begin to rise from the canyon floor. The hot wind sweeps up the vertical walls, carrying the invisible stories of the desert. And it carries a scent, the unmistakable, fragile scent of newborn prey. The massive grizzly stops dead in his tracks. His heavy head swings toward the cliffs. He inhales deeply, tasting the air. The scavenger has instantly transformed back into an apex predator. He locks onto the scent trail. His focus becomes absolute. The slow, heavy ascent begins. Hundreds of feet above, the mother mountain lion's ears twitch in the darkness of the cave. She catches the faint, rhythmic sound of falling pebbles, heavy claws scraping against sandstone. She creeps to the very edge of the rock and looks down into the glaring light. The nightmare of every mother in the wilderness is slowly climbing toward her sanctuary. The math of this encounter is a guaranteed death sentence. 100 pounds versus 800. If she stays and fights at the entrance of the den, the bear will easily crush her. Once she is dead, her defenseless kittens will immediately follow. She cannot win with strength. She must rely on her only absolute advantage, vertical supremacy. She looks back at her sleeping kittens one last time. She must draw the monster away. Stepping out of the shadows, she walks onto the exposed, sun-baked rock face. She makes a deliberate, incredibly dangerous choice. She intentionally breaks her camouflage. Standing tall against the bright blue skyline, she stares directly down at the climbing giant. She bares her teeth and unleashes a sharp, echoing hiss that cuts right through the canyon wind. The bluff has officially begun. She has offered herself as the ultimate distraction. The grizzly pauses. The sudden sight of the adult cat triggers his rage and predatory drive. Forgetting the faint scent of the hidden kittens, he locks entirely onto the mother above him. With a guttural roar, the bear charges up the steep incline, closing the distance terrifyingly fast. Despite his massive, cumbersome bulk, a grizzly bear is an aggressively capable climber. The mother puma waits. She must let him get dangerously close to ensure he is fully committed. Just as the bear reaches the lower tier of her ledge, the deadly game of vertical chess begins. She moves with liquid grace, leaping across a jagged gap with pinpoint, effortless precision. The bear follows blindly, his immense claws tearing chunks of solid sandstone from the cliff. He hauls his massive body over the gap, powered entirely by adrenaline and brute strength. The puma is not fleeing in a panic. Every single step she takes is meticulously calculated. She is leading him higher and higher, pulling him further away from the hidden cave. She guides the chase onto a crumbling, narrow ledge that overlooks a sheer, dizzying drop. The path then narrows with every terrifying step. The rock face to their left becomes entirely vertical. The grizzly's massive bulk, which is normally his greatest weapon, is now a deadly disadvantage. He begins to struggle to maintain his grip. There is simply not enough rock for his paws. The loose red shale begins to slide and crumble beneath his immense weight, tumbling into the void. The bear lunges forward with a terrifying roar, his jaws snapping just inches from her tail. But in a split second, the mountain lion executes a physically impossible maneuver. She launches her entire body off the edge of the cliff, soaring directly into thin air. She flies gracefully across a massive 20-foot chasm toward an isolated spire of rock. It is a leap of absolute desperation. A jump only a mountain lion could ever survive. She lands perfectly on the safe spire, her claws gripping the stone like steel hooks. Behind her, the grizzly skids on the gravel, fighting to stop his forward momentum. His front claws desperately grip the crumbling edge as his heavy body leans over the abyss. He freezes, hanging on the very brink of disaster, his chest heaving with exertion. Pebbles fall silently from under his paws, taking long, agonizing seconds to hit the canyon floor. The bear looks across the impassable gap at the cat. He is far too heavy to make the jump. He looks behind him. The ledge is far too narrow for a massive bear to easily turn around. The mother's brilliant bluff has worked flawlessly. The giant is completely stranded. Frustrated, exhausted, and confused, the bear finally realizes his fatal mistake. The predator has been outsmarted by the terrain. He lets out a low, defeated groan. Slowly, carefully, and humiliatingly, he is forced to begin a grueling backward descent. He inches his way down the steep cliff face, entirely focused on not falling to his death. From her high, untouchable vantage point, the phantom of the canyon watches him retreat. The golden light of the late afternoon sun begins to cast long, deep shadows across the gorge. She waits patiently on her rock spire, a silent guardian bathed in the fading light. She watches until the giant bear is nothing but a dark speck moving on the canyon floor. Only when the threat is entirely gone does she execute her precise return jumps. She moves silently back across the dangerous ledges, melting into the evening shadows. The desert air finally begins to cool as she reaches the hidden entrance of her sanctuary. She steps into the dark cave, greeted by the soft, helpless sounds of her kittens. She wraps her tired body around them, exhausted but victorious. Tonight, her family is safe. They have survived another day in the furnace of the Southwest. In this deadly, vertical world of stone and extreme heat, brute strength is a terrifying weapon. But it will always bow to the unmatched power of a mother's instinct.